Hello world, and welcome back to Architectural History 2, Lecture 2, Chapter 14, Years 1750 through 1800. The Picturesque, Landscapes of the Informal, the Exotic, and the Sublime. Wiltshire, England, maybe Wiltshire, Stourhead Gardens, Bridge and Pantheon, Henry Flitcroft, 1741 through 1772. The English garden, developed as a technically sophisticated artifact designed to look like a product of nature, Italy produced some notable precedents to the picturesque English garden. This one depicted is Orvieto, Italy, Balmazzaro, Garden of the Monsters, 1560s. Picturesque, taste delighted in exotic cultures, distant in either time or space. Landscape designers inserted pavilions as Greek, Roman, Gothic, and Persian follies. This one, depicted, is in London, Kew Gardens, The Pagoda by William Chambers, circa 1764. This image is Brighton, England, the Royal Pavilion by John Nash, circa 1815. Picturesque taste delighted in exotic cultures, distant in time and space, as mentioned previously. The Follies. This one depicted is in Beijing. View of Summer Palace maze with European follies built in European Emperor Qinglong, circa 1780s. The contrived informality of the English garden accompanied the ideological turn to basic formality of Palladian architecture. The gardens at Stowe House became a laboratory for picturesque experimentation. This image is in Buckingham, England, Stowe Garden, the Palladian Bridge, James Gibbs, and others, circa 1740s. The philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau visited during his exile in 1766 and enshrined the English garden in his theory of the liberty of natural man. He inspired Queen Marie Antoinette to transform a remote corner of the park of Versailles into a peasant village, or Hameau, spell it Hameau. This picture indicated in Versailles, France, Palace of Versailles, Hameau of Marie Antoinette, designed by Richard McHugh, circa 1778 to 1785. The theory of picturesque pertained initially to landscape design, but by the mid-18th century it infiltrated the practice of architecture and urbanism. This example is Twickenham, England, Strawberry Hill. The image on the left is Strawberry Hill by Horace Walpole with Robert Adam, circa 1749 through 1780. The image on the right is the interior. This is a drawing of proposal built in Wiltshire, England, noted Fonthill Abbey, built for William Beckford by James Wyatt, circa 1790s. The tower collapsed in 1836. The picturesque design method influenced architecture by blending buildings into the landscape as subordinate parts of a greater whole. As a result, at the resort town of Bath, this concept began to influence urbanism. This image depicts Bath, England, Circus, John Wood, and the Elder, circa 1740s. The image depicted now is also Bath, England, the Royal Crescent by John Wood the Younger, circa 1770. The picturesque design method influenced architecture by blending buildings into the landscape as described earlier and had great influence on urbanism. Another image of Bath, England, the Royal Crescent, John Wood the Younger, 1770, an aerial view of Bath Circus and Crescent. So you can see an aerial view of the previous two pictures. This engraving is the London, the Regent Street, the Quadrant by John Nash, circa 1820. The engraving by T. Shepherd, 1828. The Enlightenment Europe, Theory, Revolution, and Architecture. The philosophies of the European Enlightenment in the pursuit of epistemology and the search of ultimate causes kindled new theoretical debates about architecture. The major dispute arose between those who favored a Greek origin of architectural knowledge and those who sustained an Etruscan Roman line. This image depicts in Venice the cloister of San Francesco in Vigna, Lodoli's proto-functionalist windowsills circa 1750s. Those who championed the Greeks became known as rigorists. The most extreme among them was Carlo Lodoli. He accepted the use of classical orders, preferring the Doric and Etruscan, the more elementary columns used for working structures. The theoretical appeals to reason and the first principles of Lodoli and Laugier, both of whom had little working knowledge of architecture, inspired a generation of scholars to undertake archaeological expeditions to ancient ruins to document origins. This image is depicted of Hagley Hall, a Doric folly by James Stewart, circa 1760s. Reconstruction of Propylaea in Athens, 1758, from Julien David Leroy's Les Ruines des plus beaux moments de la Grèce, or Greece, circa 1770. Giovanni Battista Piranesi's drawbridge scene from Carceri, circa 1762. This image is of Rome, reconstruction of Campus Martius, from Piranesi, Il Campo Marzio dell'Antica Roma, circa 1762. This image is Lake Albano, Italy, the Emissarium from Piranesi, Descrizione e disegno dell'emissario del lago Albano, circa 1762. This illustration of masonry techniques from Diderot and D'Alembert, Encyclopedia, circa 1751 through 1765. I think at this point it's a general admission that my pronunciation is not great, and I would encourage all of you to research how to pronounce these words accurately. The encyclopedia represented the central intellectual project of the European Enlightenment. Jacques-François Blondel wrote most of the encyclopedia's entries on architecture. Anne-Jacques Gabriel's work, like the Place de la Concorde, corresponded closely to Blondel's pitch for a return to classical purity. This image in Paris, the Place Louis XV, today's Place de la Concorde, Anne-Jacques Gabriel, circa 1750s. Gabriel built his most renowned work, the Petit Trianon, in the 1760s in the Park of Versailles for Louis XV's official mistress, Madame de Pompadour. Versailles, this image depicted is Versailles, France. Petit Trianon, I keep wanting to say Trianon, built for Madame Pompadour by Gabriel, circa 1760s. This image, a drawing from Paris, Saint Genevieve, section of the temple front porch showing iron reinforcing by Suffat, circa 1757 through 1792. This image in Paris, Saint Genevieve, Pantheon, Jacques Germain Suffat, circa 1757 through 1792. The interior of Paris, Saint Genevieve, Pantheon, by Suffat, 1757-1792. The plan of the Parisian Pantheon resembles St. Mark's in Venice, a quincunx arrangement with a high central dome and side domes over the four arms of a Greek cross. This image is the Paris facade of Millet, Guimard's house, Claude Nicolas Ledoux, circa 1770, from Ledoux L'Architecture. The proliferation of grand public theaters indicated societal changes before the Revolution. This image depicts in Bordeaux, France, the Grand Theatre by Victor Louis, circa 1780s. This image in Paris is the Palais Royal courtyard, remodeled by Victor Louis during the rebuilding of the Comédie Française, circa 1780s. This image or drawing in Paris of the Palais Royal courtyard, remodeled by Victor Louis during the rebuilding of the Comédie Française, circa 1780s. The work of Claude Nicole Ledoux embodied the Enlightenment ideals of reform and justice advocated by Diderot and Voltaire. This image in Chaux, France, Céline Deschaux, Director's House and Factories by Ledoux, circa 1770 through 1800. The work of Claude Nicole Ledoux embodied the Enlightenment ideals and reform and justice advocated by Diderot and Voltaire. Said this already. Apologies for the repeat. Representation of salt formations. This image in I think that's Bescon, France. The illustration of the theater of Bescon from Ledoux, L'Architecture, circa 1804. This image in Paris, the rendering of proposed Royal Library, Etienne Louis Boulle, circa 1780s. And another image rendering of proposed cenotaph from Fort Newton Boulle by Boulle, circa 1780s. During the chaotic first years of the French Revolution, the building industry languished. Events such as the Festival of Federation, held on July 14, 1790, to celebrate the first year of the Revolution, brought a new kind of mass participation in the urban space. This painting in Paris, Champ de Mars, Festival of Federation by Charles Monet, circa 1790. Napoleon swept to power using the rhetoric of the French Revolution to become the dictator of an empire. By the first years of the 19th century, he began to commission large public projects. This image in Paris, the arcaded Rue de Rivoli, Charles Percier and Pierre-François Léonard Fontaine, begun circa 1805. Napoleon's dictum that what is big is always beautiful characterized his attitude to architecture. In this image in Paris, the Arc de Triomphe by Jean-François Thérèse Chalgrin, circa 1805 through 1832. Industry and punishment, factories and warehouses, prisons and workhouses. In England, during the same period as the revolutionary awakening in the middle class in France and the colonists in America, equally convulsive change occurred in the realm of production. This industrial revolution found its epicenter in Manchester and Lancashire region of northern England. steam engine, or mass-produced iron, contributed to the Industrial Revolution. In 1779, Abraham Darby III produced the first monument to the structural capacity of iron, the Iron Bridge of Coalbrookdale. This image of Coalbrookdale, England, the Iron Bridge by Abraham Darby III and Thomas Farnalls Pritchard, circa 1779. This image, East Wales, Pontylicite Aqueduct on the Llangollen Canal by Thomas Telford, circa 1795 to 1805. This image in the Isle of Ainslie, Wales, Menai Suspension Bridge, Telford, in circa 1819. Industrialization exploited the new materials of advanced engineering and yielded a new building type, the factory, a multi-story rectangular box with abundant fenestration. This image in Seville, Spain, the Royal Tobacco Factory, Ignacio Sala, circa 1728. The Venetian Republic sponsored the first structure designed specifically as a prison, the Prigione Nuove. This image in Venice, new prisons, Antonio de Ponte, circa 1580s. The ornate bridge of size connected the upper story of the new prison to the judicial chambers in Ducal Palace. Its capricious crest of reverse curved scrolls offered a profound contrast to the austere style of the prison. This image is in Venice, the Bridge of Sighs, Antonio Contino, circa 1650. This image, a drawing from England, Jeremy Bentham's design for the Pentapacon, circa 1790. Again, this image, now photograph, of Jeremy Bentham's design for the Pentapacon, circa 1790. In Philadelphia, this image is a drawing of Cherry Hill, Eastern Penitentiary, John Haviland's, circa 1821.